It's all about the issues. The topics we hide underneath our tongues.
I'm a graduate with a BSc. I'm on the streets.
The Nihoho podcast is where we have conversations with vulnerability at the center.
What do we think about money? Is it our money? Is it my money? Is it your money?
The gloves come off and hands are made bare.
Because I've lived in a lot of places, dealt with a lot of people.
Let's get naked. I'm Olori Boye-Ajayi, and this is Nihoho, the podcast. We all have secrets, but the question is, how deep are these secrets and who are we keeping them from? Why are we keeping them? The questions are endless as to why, as individuals, we have secrets. On today's show, we're going to be unpacking why everyone seems to be hiding something. But today, I'm not alone. I have in the studio with me today Mrs. Olabisi Olashoeton.
Hi, Olori.
How are you? You know, I'm so happy you're here today because
Thank you.
Aside the fact that I know you and what you do, and I just think it's super amazing, but could you just tell those who don't know you exactly what you offer?
Okay. My name is Olabisi Olashoeton. I'm a marriage counselor and coach. I'm the founder of Sexcrets Wives. It's a platform where I teach people how to do their marriage God's way.
Fantastic. I love it. And I think what's really important is that, you know, sometimes we as individuals say to ourselves that, you know, oh, I have nothing to hide. You know what? You've heard that before. I have nothing to hide. Yeah. But is that really true?
Most likely the person saying that definitely has something to
Quite
hide.
Quite a lot. I really want us to begin to look at secrets. And secrets, you know, nobody likes to talk about it because the things we're hiding, we don't want the people or persons to know. But in the context of relationship, from friendship to marriage to mother, father, daughter, you know, mother, I mean, why do we feel the need to hide things from people?
Yeah, I think judgment, the fear of judgment, and from sort of like an existential perspective, like the fear of rejection.
Absolutely.
People judge, they're very critical. And so once you say that thing, it becomes the lens that you are now perceived through. So for safety, you want to just remain in that hidden place where nobody knows. So I come as I am, and then you take me as I present myself, but not really as I am.
Right.
You know, I think fear of rejection and, you know,
The judgment part.
judgment.
And it's so interesting because I'll tell you an example of this judgment thing we're talking about. So I was just getting to know my husband at the time. So I've been happily married for 10 years.
Yeah,
I know, it's a big deal for me. I don't care what anybody says.
Thank you.
But I feel like my husband at the time, I feel he didn't know what he was getting into. Right? Because you're just like, are you sure you like me? Are you sure you want to end up with me?
Like me.
Right? And I remember one night, he came to visit me at my house. And the Holy Spirit said to me, you're going to have to tell him about your past. And I thought, no way, please don't do this. This guy is so good for me.
Yeah.
Don't let me wreck this. Don't let me mess this up. And I was already panicking at the fact that I'm about to scatter something that is so good. And he said to me, I've prepared his heart. Right? And then he comes in and I am shaking. I'm thinking, because you know what? We overrate our secrets.
Absolutely.
We think we're the only ones that has, you know.
Exactly.
And it's not true, because one of the things that you must learn is that the enemy will use that fear. He will amplify that fear.
Yeah, and trap you.
So you're in this bondage, not secrets. You're not holding back secrets.
Yeah.
You are actually in bondage.
Absolutely.
You know, and he said to me, you need to free yourself before you go into this marriage. And I thought, free myself from what? He said, from that which the accuser can accuse you of having done.
Yeah, that's good.
Remember, he's the one keeping record of your wrongs.
Exactly.
Not God.
Exactly. He would bring it up.
You know what I mean? And he will taunt you with it in this new era that you're going into. It may not even be marriage, right?
Yeah.
It could be a job.
Yeah,
It could be so many things. So talk to us in relationships, for instance. Doesn't matter which one. How can people begin to feel comfortable about sharing secrets?
You know, what I always say, or maybe what I've recently started to encourage people to do, is to be authentic. Make it your life's desire to be. But don't define that authenticity as just, oh, this is where I am. Let it be about becoming your best self.
That's right.
So most times you see that the things we're hiding, we have actually moved on from them. We're probably even doing better. So you have to allow yourself to love the person who made that mistake, who committed whatever it is, and then be authentic by pushing your best self forward. So for the sake of the person you have become, free yourself.
Free yourself.
And allow yourself to just excel.
I love it.
So tell them. And so many people want to be authentic. Many people are afraid, you know, just like the story you said, God said, I've prepared his heart. Now, sometimes God may not even prepare the heart of the people you want to talk to. They may not be ready. But you see, there's a process, and you've got to be willing to give them time. And you'll be surprised that you may have underestimated their capacity to
actually take it on. I agree with
know.
you on that, because that's what happened with me. You know, by the time he actually started to hear me out, you know what he did after I told him everything? He prayed for me. I was like, I'm
That's
so
the man
marrying
of
you.
God.
I'm telling you. You know, I was like, this is so loving of you to overlook my wrongs.
Yeah.
That's what love does.
Yeah,
it doesn't keep
absolutely.
record of wrongs.
Yeah, it
and those
covers.
it covers. Thank you. But now let's sort of dig deeper into marriage. And I want to talk about the different secrets that, you know, couples keep. And let's go straight into it. Let's start with the obvious ones. Keeping secrets about finances. What you earn truly.
Yeah.
Versus what you talk about to
Yeah.
your spouse. How do you think
How
people
much you
should
spend?
Whoa.
Truly.
Okay, I'm not even going to talk about that because I see guilty written all over my forehead. But
I know, right?
how do we handle sort of not keeping secrets in the financials?
Well, sometimes some things are not exactly secrets.
Okay.
Like, it's just, you know, what you can call omission, right? And so what you want to do, you know, sort of to mitigate against that thing hidden is to have a conversation, right? What do we think about money? Is it our money? Is it my money? Is it your money? Once you are able to figure what is the value that this family is running on, then some things may not even be secret. I mean, if I buy a bag now, I don't necessarily have to tell my husband.
Right.
Whether I spend from his money or my money or our child's money, you know, it's fine. If it comes up, I'm willing to talk about it. Now, where there's a problem is when you know that if it comes up, there's that fear already that you don't want them to know.
Right.
That's a secret there. But have a conversation beforehand, what is acceptable, what is not, regarding finances.
Sounds good. I love it. So let's talk about hidden relationships. We're going to go deep. As I'm going deeper.
Yeah.
So let's talk about hidden relationships where some people are living a completely different life to what they project. Now, let me give you a good example. I'm talking about somebody who is in a place of authority, has his wife and kids, but then has, you know what? Let me take that back. It could even be a woman.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That I just got to check about that. Like,
Yeah.
what makes you think it could just be a guy? Even a woman in authority who has kids and a husband, and they have another life with another person. I
Yeah.
mean, full-blown life.
Very familiar with that.
You know what I mean? Talk to us about how can they come out of that secret life?
You know, many people don't want to be in that place, you know, and just as we said in the beginning, you have to trust yourself. You must want it more than anything else to be free. So it's not so much about them, I want them to know alone. If you want them to know, some people don't want them to know. They're fine living that secret life. But if you feel like you're in captivity, you gotta free yourself. Come out and tell them. At the end of the day, what's the worst that can happen? Right? They'll leave you, they can't handle it, they can't cope. You'll be sorry though, but sober and free.
And free. I'd
Keyword
rather
being
that.
free, you
Yeah.
know. And so you have to choose. Do you want to remain guilty? Do you want to remain hidden? Or do you want to be in the light? I mean, the Bible says that, whatever is hidden would eventually come into the light. Do you want to bring yourself out or you want to wait? I think you just have to choose yourself and be willing to embrace the person who did the mistake and not willing to do better.
So own it.
Yeah.
Own it that you've made a mistake. You shouldn't have gone that route.
Yeah.
But there is absolute, almost like a new life, a new chapter waiting for you if you can say, I'm done.
Exactly.
And just own that.
Yeah. And you must want to be done.
I love it. Let's talk about the kept secrets of a lack of having sex. You know? And I think this is important because not every couple is having sex.
Yeah.
And that's just so frustrating for some of them.
Yeah.
And when I got into my marriage, you know, as you guys know on Nihoho, I'm willing to let it rip. You know, I did have a season where we weren't having any form of intimacy, at least in the form of sex. And I can't really think of why. I think it was just a spell, a dry spell, a season. Thank you. And of course, we've moved on from that. But how do you think not talking about that secret could affect the relationship eventually?
Well, if they're not having sex, it's probably not a secret. They know. Maybe that's just a lack of communication.
So let's say I'm the wife, right? For some reason, I don't like having sex.
Okay.
Now, of course, my husband knows, but it's still a secret to those who think we're having sex.
Sort of like projecting a front.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
It's a danger to the marriage institution.
Thank you.
Right? Because people come with this false understanding of marriage sex is just so hot, it's just so good, and then nobody has really told them how it is, so they get into it, they're disappointed based on their expectations, and they don't even give their partner a chance, right? So if you're willing to come out to tell people as it is, there will be dry seasons, like you said. You know, it's not an anomaly, right?
Thank you.
And we must be willing
I feel better
to it's not, you know, and it can range from different reasons, finances, a coldness, you know, and you may even be intimate and there's connection and there's no sex.
There's no sex, actually.
You know, so we must be able to talk about it freely, right? Not just for us, but for people coming behind and looking to get into the marriage institution. I mean, no pretense, please.
Right. No pretense. I love it. So if you are struggling and if there is some form of secrecy, maybe like your parents are thinking, hey, my son and daughter, hey, go ahead. Good. And then you guys are like, actually, no action. Sorry, guys. I think it's best for you and your spouse to figure out, talk about it. Like you said, communication is really key. Why aren't we having sex?
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be something you sort of put under the rug and say, we're not going to talk about it and let's keep fronting as though we are. If you're not, talk about it, because the enemy can use that lack of sex as a form of whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's talk about Veronica. Veronica is very popular on the show. She's had some issues, you know, in our past episodes. Veronica is a young woman who is married. She has 2 kids, but she has feelings for the same sex. So she's gay, basically.
Hi, Veronica.
How you doing? You know, and the interesting thing about Veronica now is that when she was single, she was dating married men. Not as, this is going to sound very contradicting, but I think she was doing it because it was a habit as opposed to what she really wanted to do.
I see.
You know
what
I mean?
Getting by?
They were helping her get by. So there was that outlet. There was a reason why that connection was constantly being made with married men. Now, she keeps saying that she's the cause of this attraction. She feels like, I'm always attracting married men. It's now a mindset. There's that, number one. So now, remember, that was when she was single. Now she's married. And now she finds herself in a place where she's like, why am I attracted to women? And it's become a secret, of course, from her friends and her husband. What do you think is going on here with this secret life?
Well, with Veronica, she's attaching so much to attracting married men. She may consider that she's unable to attract single men. And so, because she's looking to attract somebody, now, there is the women folk.
True.
And it's more like a law of attraction. What she really wants is singleness. Somebody who is her own.
Yes.
Right? Not someone else's partner. And so she would probably, you know, take whatever comes, a woman or a man. Right? And so she may have found herself in that woman attraction because she needed her own. Right? It's possible, you know. Although there's a lot to explore in that story, though. But, you know, maybe
for the sake of this you know. And I guess having been there myself in terms of, you know, have I ever been with a married man? Maybe out of youthful, what's the word? Exuberance,
just
wanting to
sowing your
try.
wild oats.
Yeah, just doing all of those things. You kind of like, what's there? Let's see what's there, you know. But what you find is that when you open that portal of feelings, that portal of lifestyle, that portal of habit, it's going to cause ripple effects
in your life.
in your life.
Absolutely.
So it's no wonder to me why she's feeling this sort of attraction to women. Because, you know, the enemy is just so what he is. You know, he will just use one thing and create a house in your life.
Because once you go low, you just go down. I mean,
that's
there's
true.
no way up from there. So it's better to just, you know, stay with your values and stay with God. You know, funny, when I was growing up as well, I felt like I was just attracting married men.
I don't know what is it with that feeling?
Yeah, you know, I think that sometimes when you find women who have courage, presence, right? You know, there's that attraction. So she may actually be attracting married men by being herself, right? Just by being, you know, that powerful, confident lady, right? But does that mean that that's what you need to go for? No. I mean, I had to come to terms with like, what's happening?
I'm more than this.
In fact, a woman said to me once, without just even talking, she just looked at me, she said, you look like someone who can snatch somebody's husband.
I've had that said to me as well.
You know?
Can you imagine?
I think that
was
I was very upset. I think that was the day I finally, you know, took notice and said, you know, I don't really like this, right? But before then, it was fun, right? It was
just having,
you know, just I would take leaves, I would, you know, have fun, eat. But that day, it felt like an insult, and I'm like, no, I don't want to snatch somebody's husband. I'm not even interested. You know, and I had to think about my personal values and where I see myself in the future.
The values come in at some point. As we wrap up, you know, we just have a few more minutes. I want to talk about a very sensitive topic, which is keeping secrets about abortions for the single folk out there who are saying, although I'm not proud of what I did, it doesn't even represent me, but I'm finding that this secret is crushing my spirit. What are you going to say to that kind of woman?
Oh, well, wherever you are, people have defied the norm. People have come out and they've, you know, allowed themselves to soar. So what I'll say is you've got to see the future, who you are, and be willing to lean into that, right? Especially because it no longer defines you, actually. Right, so there's nothing holding you back but yourself, right? At the end of the day, people will be okay. If they look at you and say, oh, she's done that, they'll be okay. If you're married, lead with that. There's no point hiding it. People have gone from 5 abortions to having children right outside. Immediately they get married. So you know what? Do not let the enemy put you in that guilty place, because it's exactly why you would not manifest the wrong things, the things that God doesn't want for you, because you believe it. And in the kingdom, you actually, once you have it, you receive it. It's not the other way around. And so once you already see yourself as in that place, lost, not free, is holding you back, there's something about me that people don't know, you know, I wish this thing happened, you begin to manifest the negative things about those things. So you have to be free by faith. Just believe it. You are not your history. Your best self is in the future. You know, so be willing to come out, be willing to speak up, and you see how you would attract so much joy. I mean, it's just a natural law. So much joy, peace into your heart, just by being able to share your journey with another person, and seeing that because of that story, they were able to, like, you know, do something better with themselves. It frees you even the more. Honestly. And God gets all the glory, you know. Honestly. So let it go.
I love it. Let it go. It's really not even the end of the world or your world.
At all.
It's not the end of your life. It doesn't define you, as I said, you know. And I think, as, you know, Olabisi said, these things, you can use it to God's glory, like, and that's what God wants you to even have in the back of your mind, that look, everything will work out for your good. And you must trust that process of, okay, this has happened in my life, but I'm willing not to allow it be a secret. Secrets can be, like I said, bondages that the enemy will use to hold you down into that feeling. You have to come out and say, you know what? God says he doesn't remember
Yeah.
my sins.
Yeah.
He says, as you know, the east is from the west. That's like, listen, I don't remember anything. So when you show up as this new you, guess what? He's like, yeah, this is the one I know. Anybody, I repeat, anybody that allows you go back into your past. I have people who say to me, is this Olori from Grace Schools? That's not, this is not she. She no longer exists, right?
Wow.
And it can make people uncomfortable because they want to pin you down by what they know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm saying to people like, look, the Olori that even existed in this year as at April, you do not know me.
Exactly.
I'm telling you. So
Right.
I think put your chin up, chin up, chin up, chin up.
Yeah.
And get yourself out of that bondage. Thank you so much, Olabisi. I'm going to ask you to just say, you know, some things that maybe you haven't touched on and you'd really like to about secrets as we close, and then we'll call it a day.
You know, mostly what I would just say is trust yourself, right? And trust your journey. You must also be willing to trust the people who you want to reveal it to. But more importantly, desire freedom more than anything. It will move you into action, right? Because you can't stay in bondage. It's impossible. If I'm in a space that is not enough for me, I want to get out, right? So nothing is enough to keep me down, right? So you desire freedom. It holds a lot for you in your life. A lot of joy, immense peace, right? You know, just desire that, and you'll see that at the end of the day, people will be all right, right? They will be fine.
People will be all right.
And if God is with you, you also have to be able to trust that He has the hearts of kings, of people, paupers, everybody, and He's able to walk with you on that journey, you know, of coming out and finding acceptance with the right people.
Right. Thank you so much. I mean, for me, I just want to say, guys, you know, two things that Olabisi touched on. One is, if you do have a secret, please be sure you tell the right person. Don't go around spreading your gist and then people are like, you know, that's not what we're saying. You know, get the right person. And for me, a lot of times when people say to me, Olori, I'm just scared, I'm like, that's not of God. You know, because perfect love casts out that fear. And you have to trust that that perfect love has to work in you so that you can have a sound mind.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, secrets or not, don't worry about it. Just make sure your mind is saying to yourself, okay, I need to get help. And just as a way of, this just came to me now, that there might be someone listening who has had a secret life. Now, this secret life may be with another man if you're a woman, someone who's not in your, who's not your spouse, or it could even be somebody who's keeping a secret about how much they're earning. So your parents have said, oh, my daughter, you know, she's doing so well. My son is doing so well. But really, you're not doing well. That is a secret. And you have to come to terms. Either you have that conversation, but communication is really important. And for those who are living a life, who your friends think you are so rich because you look so it all the time.
You're living a lie.
You're living a lie. And it's bondage. That's really where we're headed here.
Yeah.
So there's no need to keep up with the Joneses on Instagram, you know, wearing clothes that are not yours. The Joneses too are broke, you know, but yeah, just set yourself free. Like, you know, Olabisi said, I'm so grateful you joined me today, Olabisi. I mean it. Like, I always look forward to when I have guests, but in my mind, I'm like, God, please let this person talk sense. And I'm not even going to lie. But, you know, today you really brought it home for me. And thank you for not holding back. That was really critical, because on Nihoho, it's all about vulnerability and speaking the truth as God would have us. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And guess what? I'm going to see you very soon. It's all about the issues. The topics we hide underneath our tongues.
I'm a graduate with a BSc. I'm on the streets.
The Nihoho podcast is where we have conversations with vulnerability at the center.
What do we think about money? Is it our money? Is it my money? Is it your money?
The gloves come off and hands are made bare.
Because I've lived in a lot of places, dealt with a lot of people.
Let's get naked. I'm Olori Boye-Ajayi, and this is Nihoho, the podcast.